In our first story this week, Ghanaian universities, for the first time since 1995, are on the brink of shutting down. University teachers say their standards of living continues to worsen, and a strike for better pay is now in its fourth week. Statutes of public universities require that schools close down after 21 days of no academic work. In the following reports, my colleague Justice Bedu speaks with some university teachers who have left the classroom in search of what they say is a better job and what that means for tertiary education in the country.
There are days that every university student look forward to. Graduation day is one of those.
Today's my graduation shoot. Yeah, I'm excited.
Amanda Dankwa has just completed a degree in psychology at the University of Ghana.
I'm fulfilled that by the grace of God, I've been able to complete school.
In her time here, she remembers several days when teachers stayed out of the classroom on strike, fighting for better conditions of work.
Psychologically, you know that you're supposed to go to class, and interaction with the lecturers sort of helps to grasp some of the concepts. But because you have to do it on your own, you can't tell whether you're on the right track or not. It's just hard. It's just a struggle. Yes.
So let's just say I'm a model validation.
I have come to meet Dr. Suleimana Idisa. He came to the Ghana Institute of Management and Public Administration, GIMPA, in 2016 to teach, and then to the University of Ghana.
My take home came to about, I would say less than 5,000 Ghana cedis. The incentive to stay here got smaller by the day, the more frustrations I faced within the system.
He had just earned his PhD in economics at the University of Missouri in Columbia, USA. 2 years after that, he left, went back to the US, and took a job as a banker.
At the time I was living Legon, I'm taking home less than $1,000 a month, which means I made a whole lot more money being a graduate student than working in Ghana as a full-time lecturer. I was spending like 1/3 of my income on fuel alone, not to talk about rent and everything else that comes with, the stress of Accra living, right? Another friend of mine recently relocated to another institution from Legon, just on the basis of this kind of rising cost of living and standard income. Your money is not going up, but the cost of living is skyrocketing every day, and it's just terrible.
The issue of conditions of work for university teachers ran deeper. Over the past 2 years in the University of Ghana alone, around 20 lecturers have left their job for various reasons, key amongst them poor salaries. This is the University of Cape Coast, also one of the country's largest. Inside, I have come to meet Dr. Francis Ano. He trained at Cambridge University. Like some of his colleagues, he too has toyed with the idea of leaving the classroom.
I remember when I got my promotion in October 2019. When I opened it in the head of the department's office, it was misfilling. Part of it, I was excited because, at least it showed that I had made some progress within the 3-4 years I had been there. But the part that made me a bit sad was the fact that I didn't really see any major improvement in my salary. And you ask yourself, you've done all this, taught this number of students, you've had to do research, publish a certain number of papers in certain reputable journals, only to see this.
Directors' salaries.
The Fair Wages and Salaries Commission have been the middleman between government and university teachers. The commission insists lecturers have the best possible pay now. Elankra speaks for them.
It's unfortunate because at the end of the day, it looks as if the focus is on lecturers, when in actual fact, those who are really suffering are the students. But it is unfair to them because the employer, being government, is paying UTAG whatever is due them. Just this October, we concluded negotiations for conditions of service. I don't know any group or any person who sits down to negotiate conditions of service that will make them worse off. Even the single spine doesn't do that. The single spine frowns on any situation which makes anyone worse off. So it's fair to conclude that by the end of October, we came out with conditions of service that make them better off. Indeed, I can confidently tell you that the conditions of service that we signed off on in October were the best conditions ever for UTAG to date.
If we can pay people monies that reflect their worth a little bit, incentivize them to work harder, just make them more productive, make them happier. I think we can solve a lot of problems in this country that way.
We can't just give up yet. We believe that something will be done about our conditions of service so that we can all stay here and contribute towards the development of our country, because nobody will come to do it to improve the situation for us. We have to work to make things better.
I hope that the students will brace themselves towards the strike action, because they don't know when it's going to end, and they don't know how many strikes they are going to face in the coming years. So they should just brace themselves and study hard, and by the grace of God, they will finish.
1, 2, 3.
This strike may be called off, or maybe not, but the issues that underlie the seasonal strikes by university teachers remain and would always come back to haunt the country. Justice Baidu, Joy News, Accra.
Oh my God!
Joy News show a number of students are leaving campus. This is a result of continuous absence of their lecturers from the classroom. Let's touch base with some of our correspondents for a check on the situation on key public universities. Let's go to Cape Coast. Richard Kojinyako joins us on the UCC situation. Richard, how busy or dissolute is UCC campus at the moment?
Well, so MAPS, the campus of the University of Cape Coast is deserted. The students are not on campus. A lot of them are in the halls of residence. A lot also find themselves also in their hostels. But for the first years, they would have wished that they would have had a taste of how lecturing is done, because they've been saddled with teaching. But sadly, they have not been able to do so. And so a lot of them also have gone home. Some that are also on campus are contemplating going home because the lecture theatres are empty. At the moment, what the University of Cape Coast management has done is to open the university's main library very early, so that students that would want to go and have some read would also do that. The departmental libraries and then the hall libraries have been opened. But on the campuses of the University of Cape Coast, it is deserted. Once in a while, you see some of the students passing. You don't know where exactly they are going. Like a flock of sheep without a shepherd. And so they are calling on government to do something about the strike of the university lecturers so that academic activities will return to normal at the University of Cape Coast.
And Richard, for the ones that are still on campus, any reason why they have not gone home?
Well, so they are hoping upon hope that something would be done, an amicable resolution would be reached between government and the university lecturers so that lectures can begin. But it looks as if their hopes are fading, and they will join their colleagues who are gradually also going home. And so they are staying just for some faith purposes or some hope purposes, just in case the university lecturers call off their strike, then they will still be on campus. Those that would know that they have some project work, they've started working on them. But for some of them, they have not even stepped foot on campus because they've not heard that the university lecturers have called off their strike.
All right, so that's my colleague Richard Kojinyako, and he is at Cape Coast. He's in Cape Coast. Let's go to Kwesi Deborah. He's in Kumase and brings us the KNUST scenario. Kwesi, what's the situation like there? Kwesi Deborah, if you can hear me, tell me how the situation is like on the KNUST campus. Kwesi Deborah, if you can hear me. Okay, it seems like we have some internet challenges there from Kwesi Deborah, but we will try and reach him via phone to see that. We also know that one of my colleagues, Manok Kansing, has also been visiting University of Ghana, Legon, and he'll also give us an update, an Accra update. But so far, we've heard from Richard Kojanyako. Kwesi Deborah, if you can hear me, what's the situation like on campus?
Yeah, so the situation on campus is that most of the students have left, especially the first-year students, because of the inactivity, and of course, nothing is taking place on campus. And most of the students I spoke with said that because when their continuous stay in school will mean that they would have to spend a whole lot, and they think it's better they go home and spend that money there. So that's why most of them are leaving. And of course, I've been speaking with the continuing students also. And though, of course, with the final year, some are having their thesis to execute, but they think it's better for them to stay at home because staying in the school would mean a whole lot in terms of course, as I mentioned earlier, spending and so it's kind of boring. That's the situation. That's most of the students are leaving.
All right, thank you very much, Kwesi Deborah. He's been giving us an update on the KNUST situation on that UTAG strike. Also joining us live is the President of University Students Association of Ghana, UTAG, Dr. Christian Philip Ama. Doctor, thank you so much for your time. Now, first share with us your personal experience regarding the impact of UTAG strike on your academic work.
Thank you very much for having me, and a very good morning to you and your viewers. It's a sad situation because ever since school resumed and our parents were forced to pay school fees, get us monies for accommodation, we haven't been to the classroom. We are just in school and we do not know when the lecturers are coming. And you know, last year, just when we were about to write our exams, our lecturers went on strike again, and the academic calendar was distorted. And they called off the strike action. It put a lot of stress on us to complete the academic year because the academic calendar was not extended. So more pressure, more work within the shortest possible time. We went home for a very short break. We've come back. Parents were forced to pay fees again, and just when we were about paying our fees, securing accommodation for ourselves, another strike action. So the impact on student academic work has been very, very, very huge. And on us as student leaders, double wahala, because you as a student, you are struggling with your own challenges in terms of these other things I alluded to earlier. And then the pressure from students across the country, or the SRC presidents are calling you day in, day out. What is the update? You are in Accra. What do we tell our people? And just when you are done explaining to them, students have access to your telephone number. This person is texting you. Some are giving your contact to their parents. They are calling you. Should we go for awards and take them back home? And so it's been a very stressful period for the past 3 weeks, and we can't take it any longer. Yeah.
So when we're looking at the law, it says universities are, if they are maybe like closed for like 21 days, if there's no activities for 21 days, they risk closure and shutdown. What are some of your concerns? Because we're entering the 4th week. What are some of your concerns?
So this situation has happened before. This is not the first time UTAG has embarked on this prolonged strike action. It happened in the 90s, and some of our lecturers who are currently teaching us were affected. Some of them were students. And they shared how they had to spend or overstay 1 year in school. And so we do not want that situation to happen. That is why all over social media, and also having meetings with the stakeholders from UTAG, Ministry of Education, the National Labour Commission, we are bent on making sure that our lecturers return to the classroom. If for nothing at all, Ghanaian students have paid fees and we demand to be taught. We have paid fees, academic facility user fee, wherever we have paid, and we demand to be taught. And you see, the image out there, we have international students as well, who have also paid to be here. And what image are we sending out there? So is Ghana the destination where we want international students to always come and have education and benefit from the education we are giving to our people? And this strike action, you know, is very expensive. These international students, the fees they pay, it's not easy. They're even in terms of accommodation, they do not pay the same amount that even the Ghanaian students are paying. And they have been here for weeks. We are entering the 4th week, and nothing is going on. So we do not want to be quiet about this, and we do not want what happened to our lecturers in the 90s to happen to us, where universities are going to be shut down. No. We are not going to sit down for that to happen again. So you say you won't be quiet and you won't sit down. So what are you doing? So, you know, I think that the lecturers hinted that they will be going on strike on a Friday and that it was supposed to start on the Monday. So the following week, we started the action. Our first meeting went to the Ministry of Education. Even when they called off the strike last year, we engaged the Ministry of Education on November 3rd that we do not want the situation where the strike action will come back, because the lecturers hinted that they were not calling off the strike, they were suspending it. That was in August. And so we met with the Ministry of Education on November 3rd, and we emphasized the need for them to work so hard and solve this problem so that when school resumes, we do not have our lecturers embarking on the strike action. And then the very week that UTAG embarked on the strike, we met with the national UTAG executives. We met with them, we told them that they need to consider students as well, because when two elephants fight, UTAG is a big body, government on the other hand is a big fight, and who suffers? So when two elephants fight, it is the grass that suffers. And so we do not want to get into the situation where they have been through before and they do not want us to also go through. And then we moved on to the National Labour Commission when we heard that the National Labour Commission had declared the strike action as illegal. And when we went to understand the issues, and we wanted to let the National Labour Commission know that you do not have to base on technicalities to solve this issue. Because if you say that it's illegal, we will go to court, who suffers? The lecturers at the end of the month will receive their salaries. And it's the student who has paid his fees who is going to suffer. And so it has been engagement upon engagement, and now is the time where we think that maybe our people do not understand dialogue and talking. Maybe they understand a different language. And if they want us to get there, definitely we will get there if they don't solve this problem.
So when was the last meeting, and who was in that meeting? And what was said in that meeting?
Okay. So the National Union of Ghana Students last week met with the Ministry of Education. We've also met with them. We've been having a series of engagement with them. But I would say that the last meeting we had was with the National Labour Commission as USAG, University Students Association of Ghana. Our last meeting was with USAG. However, we've kept in touch with workers at the Ministry of Education, their PRO, who happens to be even a former president of USAG. And also we keep on engaging the National UTAG executives. However, this past week, just ended week, the various meetings we've been having are with the SRC presidents, because the pressure on them, they keep telling us that they cannot contain the frustration of the students, because this frustration keeps growing by day. And you know that we have fresh students, level 100 students who came to school, finished with their registration. They do not even know the university campuses. They do not know where they have to go and where they don't have to go. No guidance whatsoever. And then there's this strike action. And I'm sure you've heard that a level 100 student at University of Ghana has died because there is no activity going on and students have been left stranded. Schools have not been closed yet, and so you cannot also, as a student leader, tell students that go home. And so a level 100 student who doesn't know anything, doesn't know
the do's and don'ts,
the do's and don'ts of our campuses, they are very stranded. You do not. Sometimes even there are unscrupulous people who are on campuses duping students in one way or the other. And so this just ended week. we've had a series of meetings with all the SRC presidents in the country, and the language is one, that if the strike action does not come to an end, if it has to even take series of protests on our university campuses, they would lead the students to embark on it, because enough is enough.
Enough is enough. And that is Dr. Christian Philip Ama, who's a president of University Students Association of Ghana. Thank you so much for your time.
Welcome.